What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive, maybe you can even call it ranking, and more gameplay content for all the people that have been asking for gameplay content, and essentially break down the promo cards from the Chaos Legion set, because some of these cards are super meta, and I want to rank them, or if not rank them, at least go through the pros and cons of each of them, because once Rebellion is out, keep in mind that Untamed will be rotated out of Modern format, and these promo cards are going to be similar to the promo cards of Untamed, right? Where assuming we have an amazing, whether it's this year or next year or 2025, whenever the Mad Rush comes in and the Rebellion class comes in, right? Assuming everything goes well and we do bring in a lot more players, they won't have access to as many of these older cards. Keep in mind, like if we're looking at what's currently on sale right now, there's like 8 Lux Vega, 17 Dr. Blights, 52 Zerials, right? There's not that many cards out there from a promo standpoint. So that, again, and the reason I'm bringing this up is not to try to FOMO anybody into buying, but these have been historically some of the lowest prices that we've seen for cards in general. So that's kind of why I'm covering it now, because anybody who's out there thinking about it, again, I'm not telling you to go out and buy all these cards or that they're going to go up in value. What I am saying, though, is I think they're going to be pretty meta for a long time, even when we get into Rebellion. And so, therefore, if you have them and are able to get them now or in the near future, it's just something worth thinking about, all right? So, not financial advice. Let me get that out of the way. All right. So, let's start from the top here. And I'm really going to go with a 1 and a 1A, right? It's almost like a tie for first place. And it's for two different reasons, and that is the two legendary neutral cards you can see here, Lux Vega and Dr. Blight. So it's hard to pick between them because they both offer different elements for your card collection, for your gameplay, and ultimately it's hard for me to really pick one over the other, we'll call it. But they're both winners to me, right? For different reasons. Now, Lux Vega, this is a card that as a neutral summoner, you can play, 80 to 90% of the time. And I'll say that, like, because I had, at the time I got Lux Vega, which is almost a year ago, which is crazy. But at the time I had mainly a gold level deck, and getting Lux Vega and then maxing out a Dragon Summoner, which was Quicks for me, allowed me to start competing at the higher levels, right? You can't get a lower level Lux Vega. It's always going to be maxed out. And so it's one of those cards that can be game changing for your entire card collection, because you can pair it up with a bunch of cheap reward cards or soul mount cards, and it can help you really fly to the higher levels because it's always usable. So in the game itself, is it a great summoner? Is it the best summoner? Obviously not, right? There's a lot of other great summoners out there, but the +1 armor, +1 health, +1 armor, +1 speed is similar to Kelia. So I always play it instead of Kelia whenever I can, and then of course playing it with other elements has been really positive for me too. But it does have a major price tag on it, right? The cheapest one is $700. So again, it's not something that you necessarily need. What I'm trying to say is, hey, let me see if I can put it in a better way. It's not that it's going to win you a specific game or win you a bunch of games, but I do think it gives you the ability to compete at a higher level than what your card collection is at. So if you're trying to stretch up, right, no matter what level that is, right, silver to gold, gold to diamond, if you're looking for a summoner that can help you do that and help you across the board in a majority of your battles, Lux Vega is going to be the one. I think that's why she retains her value so well, and there's only 8 of them on the market. Now, the 1A is Dr. Blight, and again, this is a card that is super meta, meaning that it will help you win games. In fact, there's so many times that Dr. Blight has single-handedly won a game for me, right? Now, here's the thing. The caveat with Dr. Blight is that I don't believe he's super valuable, and he's not broken, in my opinion, until you get to level 3 with the scavenge ability. Now, level 3 is going to be gold, so if you're not playing in gold level, I would skip the card, just plain and simple, right? Like, if you're playing in gold and above, I think this is a must-have card. It's won me so many games. I probably rely on it too much, but again, it's a card that's allowed me to probably win more games than I normally would have, and so therefore, Dr. Blight is at the top for me as well. Now, let's get down here. Oh, I got my Rooney. Oh, is this my cards? Oops, let's go to market. That's what I meant to do. There we go. Okay, so from there, I will say that the next best card, and card that I probably use very often, is actually Archimus the Bear, which is the cheapest card. Granted, it's a common card, so you do need 400 copies to max out, and I actually don't even have a maxed copy. So if we just go ahead and look at this card, I got mine to level 7 because that's when you get the Force Field ability, but that's 150 BCX. I would need to almost 3 times the amount of cost or investment I would make into the card, going from 150 to 400 just to get all of the additional stats. But for me, at level 7, which is good for gold, right? It's not max for gold. That'd be level 8. But for gold, if you're playing in gold, I should say, I think it's valuable just to get that Force Field ability, right? You get Protect, Halving, and Force Field. And actually, I would say, because for silver players, at level 5, or actually no, at level 4, you get the Halving ability, which is probably the biggest appeal for the monster, right? There's only 2 cards in the game with Halving, so getting Archimus the Bear, whether you're playing in silver, gold, or actually all the way up above, I think is super valuable. In bronze, again, not that I don't play in bronze with him, and if I had him, I don't think I would use him as much. There's just not as many high mana battle games there, but I assume most people are playing in silver and above, and I would say that this is a card that, for only 30 BCX, and it's like 13 cents per BCX right now, you can be getting him with the 2 abilities that I think are the best, right? Your Protect and your Halving in silver, and he'd be pretty solid as a card to have in your lineup. Obviously, I got mine all the way up to level 7, which is a little bit more of an investment, which is 5 times the investment, right? But ultimately, I have no plans or no desire to get him all the way maxed out. If I ever do, that would be awesome, but it's not at the top of my priority list. But it is a card that I use a lot, even at that level. Man, it keeps going back to my card collection and not the market. All right, the next card from there, I would actually say, is the dragon card, Oshur. Now, Oshur is a card that, if you don't play dragon a lot, or you don't have a major dragon deck, I would say, maybe you can skip it because it's not necessarily the cheapest card out there. It's $23 per BCX, although it is a maxed, it is a legendary, so you only need 11 copies. And it looks like you can get one here, $23 per BCX for $255 total. Now, here's the thing with Oshur. I would say that in bronze, similar to Dr. Blight, I don't use it in bronze, or use her in bronze or silver, but I do use her as soon as she gets the heal ability, the tank heal ability. And there's a lot of monsters that actually go well with this. A lot of dragon monsters, right? You have Aggro Longtail. I like throwing, like for magic only matches, I love throwing Void Dragon up front, or even like pairing it, because you can pair dragon with any splinter, right? Or whatever splinters are available for the game. So pairing it with a lot of like Void Armor or Shield, or whatever is suitable for the matchup. I think once you get that heal ability, it's awesome. Reflection Shield is a nice to have. Resurrect is definitely great to have, but to me, the heal is where it's really, really important. So, maybe if you're strapped for cash, you don't really want to go for Oshur, then it's actually the other dragon card that I think is awesome because it comes with the Martyr ability. So, again, you don't get the Martyr ability at the lower levels. I'm talking about Vruz here now. So, but you do get it when you max it for silver, which is 60 BCX. And again, assuming here everybody plays in silver or above, I think that this then becomes a card that you want to have in your lineup. It's 2 mana, super fast, and sneak attack with the Martyr ability. It's a card that I love throwing in there just to juice up my other monsters around. And again, because it has a sneak ability, if you know that it's like a Thorns rule set or something like that, or an Opportunity rule set, you can just throw them in there, just like any other Martyr card. And you can pair them up with Martyr cards from other splinters as well, since it is dragon, and really, really up your Martyr game. So for me, I don't even have a max copy of this. I have a maxed for gold, which is level 8, 220 BCX. To me, getting all the way to the top for that extra speed and then True Strike, I mean, it's not really necessary. There have definitely been times, even with a speed of 6, that I've seen Vruz miss, and then I was like, that's what I get for not having a max copy, right? But ultimately, I don't know. To me, it's just like, as long as you get it up to the silver level with that Martyr ability, I think that has a ton of value. And just to put it into context here, I mean, there are not any max copy. Oh, sorry. There's one max copy. There's a level 5 copy for $20. And the reason I bring that up is because it takes 400 BCX to max a copy. And guess what? There's only 533 for sale. So as we saw there, let me just go back just to make sure. If we go, let's sort by BCX. Yeah, so you have a couple that are leveled up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are leveled up, and the rest are going for just one BCX. So when we go back to the full page here, it's like 528 single BCX copies available. That's it. So again, shows a little bit of the scarcity of the card. I'm not saying that 34 cents is a good or bad price. I'm not telling you to go out and buy it because it's going to be a good investment. I'm just saying that the card is actually decent and I use it. Maybe not as much as Oshore, but maybe I should be using it a little bit more now. Next, we go to Zerial, and the next two cards, which will be Zerial and Waka, I left at the end, but not because I want to throw shade necessarily, mainly because I don't have them at the higher levels, or I don't have them at all. Like, for example, Zerial, I only have at level 1, so it's hard for me to really speak to it because it's a card that I wouldn't necessarily use. Now, Zerial, I do have it, and I do have, a level 1, and I've thrown it in there a couple of times. It's won me some games playing in the, archery only, or what is it called? Ranged only battles. But to me, if I was going to grab more of them and I wanted to have a card that is, I mean, this is a card that when it was delegated to me or I rented it for a little while, I thought it was valuable, right? But to me, it's only at level 3 where you get the Rust ability, because Rust or armor is just super part of the meta right now. You had so many summoners and monsters with protect or plus 1 plus 2 armor, whatever it is. So having Rust in a card that can be both life and death is actually really valuable. And then you're able to pair this up with awesome cards like Pelakar Conjure on the life team, Riftwing on the death team, Chaos Agent, right, who goes anywhere. So to me, it's a card that has a lot of value. I just don't, I can't properly rank it because I don't play with it often. And then similarly with Waka, I know a lot of people laugh at Waka, say that he's a bust. Darkest Night probably wouldn't be happy about that I'm leaving him for last. But at the end of the day, to me, where Waka actually has the most value, I would say, is in bronze and silver. And what sucks about this card in that sense is the fact that you have to buy it at max level. And so since you have to buy it at max level, it's it's good for everything. And I've definitely, come across and been beaten by Waka even in gold and diamond. So I don't want to say that it's useless, but at the lower levels, having all of your monsters with poison is actually huge because there's just not as many abilities going around. So all of a sudden you give all of your monsters the poison ability and you can just rip through some teams, especially in bronze. But outside of that, like I said, I haven't really used it as much. There's a lot of copies out there as well, compared to other cards. Well, I guess not. There's only 500 copies out there. So, but again, I guess people don't really want a full copy of it. And there's only 7 available on the market anyway. So, it is what it is. I'm going to leave Waka there, but I'm curious to know how you guys would rank these cards. If you agree or disagree with my overall ranking or thought process or analysis, but let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.